Gotham City always brings a smile to my face.
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the BOF Social Hour, a Batman on Film podcast. How's that? That's pretty optimistic tone right there, isn't it, Ryan Lauer, senior BOF contributor?
Bill's in a great mood because he has had his Mountain Dew for breakfast. So
yes,
he is optimistic.
I had
sunny,
Mountain Dew.
Looking forward to the day.
I had Count Chocula with mixed in. I had Blueberry, Count Chocula, and Frankenberry a mix. You know that?
Wow.
And then with Mountain Dew. So
not messing around today.
I'm wired up. Yes, I am. I'm Bill Ramey, by the way, in case you didn't know, and I'm a founder of Batman on Film. Which Batman on Film, even though I'm the founder, I'm allowed this little podcast.
Yeah,
just to get just as just give me
allowed.
Give me a little, toss me a bone here. Give me something to do here with Batman on Film. And we're going to continue it's our Rankum, okay? And our Rankum is our favorite from Batman on Film, literally live action Batman on Film. And we're going to take on Batman's hometown today, Gotham City.
City of Justice.
Yes. Do you like to refer to Gotham City as Gotham or Gotham City?
I say Gotham.
Yeah.
I know it's technically Gotham City. Take my card away, but it's so powerful.
Well,
you don't even need the identifier of city.
New York City is
Gotham.
New York City, but
yeah,
most people just say New York, right?
Yeah.
And Gotham is kind of based on New York City. So there you go.
I was thinking of, because you got a bunch of these favorite rankings in your back pocket.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be something if down the line we do a favorites ranking of our favorite rankings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let me write that down.
Add that to the list.
Favorite of our favorite. That's like a podcast about a podcast,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which can be done, as we've seen here on Batman on Film.
Because we've done it.
Can be done well.
It has been accomplished. Absolutely. Before we get going on our Rankum of Gothams, we got the writers' strikes settled.
Mm-hmm.
So things are moving steadily forward. And yesterday, because we are recording on the 4th of October, 2023. Yesterday marked we're exactly 2 years out from the Batman Part 2.
Boop, boop.
And which will be here and gone before you know it.
So what you're saying is hashtag the Batman Part 2 is coming.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Like I always say, I can't wait for this, but my mantra is like, enjoy the ride, because it'll be here and gone before you know it. Always, and I have to remind people, hey, it's been 11 years since The Dark Knight Rises. It's been 15 years since The Dark Knight. I mean, it just all of it, Think about the Batman itself. Think about when we saw that first Fandom teaser trailer, which was what, 2020?
Yeah. That was 3 years ago.
That's 3 years ago. And we're closer to the Batman Part 2 than we are from when we first saw that trailer for the Batman Part 1 in Fandom. So anyway, bottom line is enjoy this stuff. And also don't worry about who the frickin' villain is. Okay?
That was going to be my next question, Bill. Who do you think the villain's going to be?
I just go cliche, like, you know, the old bit, Crazy Quilt. Of course it's Crazy Quilt.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a long time coming.
Yeah, nothing says epic crime saga like Crazy Quilt as a villain. You know, this is not the 90s or the 80s for that matter. And maybe even the early 2000s, where who will be the villain? Well, then we'll write the story around that villain or villains. It's we saw this with the Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan, and clearly in the Batman and in the Batman saga now with Matt Reeves. The story is what's important, and the characters that fit the story will be in the movie. Okay, so that's the way it goes. Let's get that in our heads now. Doesn't matter who the villain, and most importantly, Ryan, the Batman saga is about Bruce Wayne and Batman. Probably more about Bruce Wayne. It's not about the villains.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
That said, and like now serious talk. Who do you think the villain's going to be? Okay. Anyways,
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, nothing says brutal crime like sewing a quilt. So, I mean, I think you're onto something here, and I can't wait to read the articles. Breaking Crazy Quilt confirmed. Source, Batman on film.
Yes, but
anyway.
I will say, mention, we should start hearing some news soon. It looks like the actors strike is going to get settled here shortly, and people going back to work already. You know, we've seen writers and whatnot in the late night talk shows. So with the Batman being, I always said, never was worried about it getting pushed because of it had a pretty big cushion, you know.
Yeah.
And so now clearly, if we had had the strikes, we would have heard a lot of casting because they've been starting filming next month.
Yeah.
Think about that. They were going to film next month. So, but they're going to film early next year. So soon as the strike, this last strike is settled, we should start hearing a bunch of news about the Batman Part 2.
I just kind of thought that there was, when they were way ahead of the game and in picking the October 2025 date. We've known that for quite a while.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. I don't know because I have not talked to Matt Reeves, as I always say. I'll ask him when I have lunch with him next week.
Yeah.
But he had, like, with as much time because of COVID and how long the process of the Batman was made and everything, that it was just hard. And I've told you this before too. Like, it's hard for me to think that he wasn't already thinking of what's next.
Oh, sure.
Not like he's written it, it's already done, and production right sort of deal, but it's just in finishing it. And I would never have expected him to say, yeah, and then the next one before the first one even came out or anything. But I just felt like, how does he not already thinking of the next one? Especially when it didn't seem like there's the directing projects he was attached to prior to it or anything like that. And then he brought aboard Mattson Tomlin and writing and stuff. And then the past 5 months, the writer's strike has been happening, but I mean, directors guilds, they had a deal so he could still work as a director with things. And so I was never concerned when it came to, and of course there's bigger things to worry about and everything, but Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy was the blueprint. There was a pattern in announcements, how long before they started shooting, when they were shooting, how long until release date. And it just seems, as far as this goes now also, the Batman was following that, and then COVID happened. But as far as like casting announcements before they started shooting lined up kind of around the same amount of time. I mean, you could trace that back to Batman vs Superman, as far as like when Affleck was announced. before they started shooting. That
Yeah.
It's just fitting. Like there was no reason to panic when it came to that stuff, and it is just like you said, like enjoy the ride of. We won't know when. There's going to be another casting announcement coming up this fall, is my guess, because that times out perfectly for when they're going to shoot beginning next year, and then the news next year is just going to trample in. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
And we've seen Matt Reeves he will he'll throw out, toss us little tidbits out there from time to time, like the screenshot, screen test, costume test with, and whatnot. So we'll get little teasers along the way.
Yeah.
He's a little, he's a little more open, I guess. Maybe that's probably the fan in him, than Chris was. And so, which is, no, I'm not taking a shot at Chris Nolan. It's just,
you heard it here
Chris Nolan,
first. Bill Jett Ramey takes a shot at Christopher Nolan.
I'm no Eric Holzman, sir.
That's true. Yes. You don't have beef with him.
I don't have any beef with Chris. So, yeah, it's just, Chris is like, his whole thing is he wouldn't want to show you anything. I don't know if he would even want to show a trailer, it's always meant to be on the big screen. So, and that's fine, but it's cool. I've said before, it's cool to have a diehard Batman fan in charge of Batman on film,
Yeah.
Not that you have to be, because it's worked before, without being a diehard, but it's just something. I just think it's cool,
Yep.
I feel like a little kindred spirit with Matt Reeves. We're the same vintage, and our Batman Batman fan origin stories are probably very similar, 66 show, and just from reading what he has said about being a Batman fan. So yeah, and that's on my bucket list to interview him. I just want to talk to him about Batman and Batman on film. All right, so speaking of Batman on film, let's talk about Gotham's on film. We're going to rank our top 5 favorite individually. We'll start with number 5. All right. All right.
Ryan, oh my gosh, I'm totally unprepared for this. No, I'm good. I got it. All right, number 5. There's going to be some nostalgia on this list for me, Bill.
Okay.
But
well, yes, that always factors in, of course.
Always factors in. Number 5 is the Gotham scene in Batman Forever. I know it was a lot of sets and backgrounds. I don't know if computers, I don't know, and all that stuff, but I still like, and I just typed it in too to just see a couple random screenshots. I really like the look that Schumacher created for Batman Forever. Overdone for Batman and Robin. Some would probably try and argue that Batman and Robin is the same. I think it's different. I think it's it's too much in Batman and Robin, whereas Forever is just kind of like it is a fun vibe. I don't know how you would say in creating the buildings that, look like a standing up rectangle with the rectangle windows all over that are just the same color to show that the light's on. That's all over the place, but it's like, I don't know. It's cool. It reminds me a little bit of the animated series. And then, of course, as a kid, it just seemed like, wow, this city is so big and so many lights. And then when they created, the hippodrome where the circus was in, and that shot and coming in too. And so you do see the big bridge that looks like a bridge from New York City and stuff, but then the variation of lights, and I don't know, I just thought this is a Gotham that seemed massive, and so as a kid it just let my imagination just wander seeing all this. So Batman Forever, number 5.
It is a good looking Gotham. It's unique, distinctive. So yeah.
And then that shot too is it's going to basically Wayne Enterprises at the beginning, and you're weaving in hearing the radio, but my mind then too is like daytime of like, wow, look at this, all these buildings, and how do they get up there?
Yeah. And then I think also it's the whole, the bank heist, with the safe and Batman, the helicopter going through Gotham and Lady Gotham and all that. It's, it feels expansive.
Yeah.
More than Batman Returns, which was a little more claustrophobic. My number 5, speaking of the devil, is Batman Returns.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did not expect this to be in your 5 at all.
It is Batman Returns. I do have issues with it because it did feel very small. And I think maybe that was something that Tim Burton was going for. Not sure. But I will say the production design, it's a very good looking city is what they created there, regardless of the fact of the the Gotham Square is cool. I mean, it looks very good. It's very distinctive and unique. So, and I do separate it from Batman 89 because it is
different.
It is different, a lot different than Batman 89. You didn't have Anton first, but probably one of the main reasons. So yeah, I got Batman Returns as number 5 on my list.
That surprises me. Bill J. Ramey's full of surprises.
I am
all the time.
Full of surprises. All right. Number 4.
My number 4, and this may be surprising.
Okay.
Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay.
Now, all of these, I mean, you just heard me talk about number 5 very positively because I like it. So all these have, I mean, it was the last time that you and I did a ranking, and you even said too, like minimal differences between 4 and 5, 3 and 4, 2 and 3, like, because we're fans, we like all of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same here. I think, and there are, you and I, you actually brought this up right before we started recording about to address each movie individually or group them all together. And I group them all together, but there's a case that can be made if somebody wants to rank and they do want to say Gotham from Begins, Gotham from Dark Knight and stuff.
You just said with Forever, there's not as nearly big of a difference between Forever and Batman and Robin than there is Batman 89 and Returns.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but you focused on Forever. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yes.
I kind of grouped them all together. It's I'm flipping through, and yeah, I mean, it's the first time that it's, Gotham is a real city. It's on location, as we all know. I mean, a lot of us have deemed Chicago as Gotham.
Yeah.
At this point, and you can thank, Begins and The Dark Knight for that. I do like the realistic approach, and I know there are snippets of the Narrows being built from Begins.
Yeah.
But I mean, it groups in, and then you have the overhead shot in Begins where it is Chicago with layers added on through computers and stuff. So it just gets really, if you try to get too technical with it, it just kind of becomes a mess. So I just group it. I like the realistic approach. And you can thank like the architects of Chicago a long time ago for designing Gotham, basically. But yeah, I do like the realistic approach because everything it fits that story, fits that mood. As we've ranked, you and I have ranked, stuff from The Dark Knight has pretty much inched towards the top of my list each time. And yeah, I don't know. I see Gotham a lot these days in person.
Yeah. Every time you go, you think of.
Absolutely. I walk by
right?
Wayne Tower. I walk by Wayne Tower, and I also walk by the is it Gotham Square Garden from the Batman? What's it called? Gotham Garden? They're Madison Square Garden in the Batman that.
Gotham Square Garden. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I walk by that every day, and I walk by Wayne Tower every day that I report to work. So there we go. It's always Batman all the time.
My number 4 is Batman Forever / Batman and Robin, but specifically Batman Forever.
Okay.
And you've talked about it. I talked about it with you. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a little cartoony? Yes. But you know what? That's what Joel Schumacher was going for. He wanted what he said at the time, a living comic book. And with the neon and stuff. And I think it was more subtle in Forever,
Yeah. Just that one back alley.
Yeah.
Was all the neon people and stuff like that. Whereas Batman and Robin is sort of be like, oh man, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, Batman Forever, and I don't know if you want to call it nostalgia, but of course, it's no secret I'm very fond of Batman Forever. I will say that 4 and up, the differences are very tight, very small.
Yeah.
There is a gap between Returns and I like Batman Forever, Gotham a lot better than Returns, but number 5 is number 5 on my list, as I said. So with that, we will move to number 3. Go ahead.
I was going to say with Forever. I mean, you and I think we say it. I think we end up saying it each time that we rank 2 of like both of us have a unique corner reserved for Batman Forever. Of like, yes, if there's faults to it, we recognize them, but it's accepted them long ago because we have almost like a bit of a nostalgia factor for it.
Yes.
And I mean, even earlier this year, I had wisdom teeth taken out. And when I got home, the drugs wore off. And I went over and I grabbed Batman Forever and I put Batman Forever in. Like that was just comfort viewing as I was waiting for my new drugs to kick in.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely I need it. Like I want fun, easy viewing Batman right now. And that one shoots pretty up there at the top of the list of something to just put in.
I will say that there are a lot of people who I don't know if it's in secret or what, but a lot of people like Batman Forever quite a bit. Anytime I post anything about Batman Forever, it gets a ton of traffic. Yeah. Especially the Schumacher cut, Red Diary cut stuff of late.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That stuff gets a lot of traffic. So there is an interest in seeing the I still want to call it Red Diary cut because I called it that for forever. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Oh,
hey, oh,
hey now,
yeah. So hopefully that happens. We do have Batman Forever's 30th anniversary coming up in a couple of years, and this isn't like Justice League. It wouldn't cost.
Yeah, it should be $1 billion. Easier editing process.
Yes,
should be, but also I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to clean it up, finish some special effects, make the score fit. That's it. So hopefully it happens. So there you go. Number 4, Batman Forever. All right, let's move on to number 3. Hey y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor.
The only time I thought we were going to talk about this one is the Gotham City and Batman Returns. So you surprised me. You beat me to the punch talking about this one.
Wow. Okay.
Let's see. There was a fun style. So similar to Forever and how I described, the rectangular buildings, in the background and stuff, the lights on. I mean, Tim Burton also had that as backgrounds for some of his Gotham in the winter. Like, man, sign me up. Snowing and then, taking place at Christmas time. I'm a sucker for that stuff too. Like going into a city at Christmas time and it's snowing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that'll get me all the time, all day, every day. Then on top of it, I did like the approach of he made his blacks blacker for this one, and I understand everybody's comments, sometimes criticisms on Batman Returns as a Tim Burton movie, not a Batman movie. I mean, I've read a book called Burton on Burton, which is an excellent read, and there's a whole chapter about Batman Returns. You've seen behind the scenes stuff and everything of like he wasn't interested in repeating himself. And so he was able to make it like, hey, do what you want. And he chose this route. And that was such prime Tim Burton style at the time that I love that period of Tim Burton movies. It oozes Burton all over the place. So it totally worked for me. I don't know. I really liked it. And I know that area they return to, no pun intended, a lot throughout the movie. It wasn't until later on in life that I kind of felt I realized that they kept going by the same theater in 89. Like that's almost in a lot of shots too. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's not as expansive as originally thought. And I don't know, Returns feels a little, smaller, but there are backgrounds and different styles brought into that movie that it does make it feel a little expansive for me, but it's also just really, really unique and stylistic that I love the Returns aesthetic. Nostalgia can play into that too. I know.
Yeah, it is 100% what you said there, and it is unique, and it looks good. I mean, it does. It's pretty. Is that fair? Is that a fair adjective to describe it?
Damn right.
That's why it's on my list. Even though I'm not a big fan of the movie.
You're not?
I am not. One day I'll do a podcast about that. But
yeah,
I can separate. Like I can say, I really like Michael Keaton as Batman in that movie. Things like that.
Hey, Pete even got you to talk about the movie last year.
I did. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Number 3 for me is the Dark Knight trilogy, specifically Batman Begins.
Nice.
I thought Batman Begins had a little bit more Gothaminess in it. I guess with the Narrows, there's a shot, when Bruce is flying back from Asia or wherever in the hell with Alfred. Been gone a long time. And on the airplane, there's a scene when he's driving back in Gotham. I mean, you see Gotham from the air. It's kind of got that bronze tint to it.
I was just gonna say that. So on the BOF logo that's behind your head, that bronze coloring, as I was just like looking at you as you were talking, and that bronze coloring, I'm like, and as you're talking about the plane coming in, you do see when Alfred gest off the plane, Master Wayne, he's been gone a long time. You see it looks like normal coloring, but then even when they're on that plane and starting to fly back to Gotham, that bronze coloring is creeping in through the windows. And then you do get to Gotham, and it just seems like, especially at nighttime, that bronze coloring is Gotham. And I think that's unique.
Yes. I think there's a difference. They shot The Dark Knight was like 85% of The Dark Knight was on location in Chicago. They even turned the old post office into a freaking sound stage for the, so with Begins, there was a lot of studio shot in the studio soundstage work over in the UK. And then, they did, the Narrows just made it really, really stood out, unique. I was wondering why they never went back to the Narrows. We never saw them again, but whatever. I guess it wasn't part of the story. So Batman Begins. And I do like the fact that even though it's a little more stylistic than what we see in Dark Knight and in Rises, I like the realism. It's it is a real city. It's not overdone with crazy architecture and things like that. So there you go. Batman Begins, Dark Knight trilogy. Batman Begins specifically.
Sounds good. I'm with you.
Thank you.
Chicago.
Thank you. All right, number two.
2 and 1. There was a moment where I was really questioning. I was like, am I comfortable with this? And I am. Number 2 for me is the Gotham City created by Matt Reeves and company for the Batman. When it first was coming out that they were shooting in Scotland, and you got to see pictures of Scotland, it just seemed like, oh man, awesome. Great. I know I sound like a nerd, like there's some great architecture over there. I've never been there. I've seen pictures. Yeah. And it looks like there's an old historical city with great Gothic architecture. That's Gotham. And so you have that alone, but then on top of it, even on the stages that Reeves used we talked about it here too, even of, mixing in soundstage on location in Scotland, on location in Chicago, blending into one like scene at times and stuff too. It just created I keep coming back to the word unique, because it's like, I want that for Gotham. If I choose, I want uniqueness. I don't just want because Gotham's supposed to be massive. It's supposed to be dark and dangerous and have a mood. And I think the Gotham in the Batman, it has a mood.
Yes, it does.
And I could just sit in that atmosphere in a movie and just watch, which is why, there are many reasons why the runtime of the Batman didn't bother me, but that was a big one of just like, I'm just in it, I'm just immersed in this Gotham that is just so dark and rainy and Gothic, and Batman's moody. He looks great and like all that. And just give me that. Let me soak it up. And I think like, I don't like to be like, it's underrated or anything like that. It's just, I think that there's a lot that can be said and praised about the look of Gotham that Reeves created.
I agree. I'll give you my number 2.
Batman and Robin. Oh, okay.
My number 2. I went back and forth between 1 and 2 quite a bit. And I factored in nostalgia. I factored in time frame, history. My number 2 Gotham on film is the Gotham created by Anton Furst in Batman 89.
Ooh, all right.
Yes, sir. That's Gotham City, and it's the Gotham City that's a little, it is like what they say, like hell erupted from underneath the ground and rose up. That was, what Gotham was supposed to be. So yes, and then I think there's also the nostalgia of actually seeing a unique Gotham as opposed to what we saw, in the previous, the only other Gotham we ever saw was, from the 66 movie and TV series where it was Los Angeles, so in the daytime.
I was gonna say, the daytime.
Even though we got daytime Gotham and Rises, but that's a whole different conversation. But whatever. So yeah, it is from Batman 89 is my number 2, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right. If this is, Bill's just crossed his arms and leaned back. Was like, you can't change my mind.
Yes. So that takes us to number 1.
Okay. I think if everybody playing at home can probably just guess what mine is, guess what yours is.
Yeah.
But my little drum roll, 89 is my number 1. Sure, nostalgia, but looking back at it now too, there's so much unique style. There it is. I'm not trying to even say it. It's just unique, just pops out. It's just what I want with my Gotham. There's a blending, and this is why early Tim Burton, like even now, I watched quite a few of those movies recently too. Early Tim Burton, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like some of my favorite stuff, because he has such a blend of different styles. And though 89 definitely, yes, it was Tim Burton. But you watch the documentaries, you read enough stuff that there were more hands guiding that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you can see his stuff, like you can see his handprints on things. And even from, I mean, if you want to, I don't know if it's like a matte painting or what, of when you get that Gotham, the opening shot of Gotham City.
Gotham, when it says Gotham City, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just like that alone, it's like, oh, I love this. You get into Batman, the computerized Batman overlooking after the family gets mugged, and you're looking down, and it's like, oh man, that's cool. And then you do get Batman, and he's hanging the guy over the roof. Like, so many aspects of Gotham City through that are just like, are awesome. The long shots of where you see, and I mean, Joker reminded me of this. Some shots of the New York City, and you see how it's going way beyond, and then you find out that background is like, that's not real. That's altered. And I'm like, that reminds me of 89 at times, where it seems like the city goes on for a long time, but you know that it doesn't. And yeah, that movie just oozes gothicness.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think it's there in the name. That's what Gotham kind of needs to be. So 89, always, I think it's always going to be. And that's even putting some of these others in really high regard. It's like, that's the champ you got to knock down.
Yeah.
It's 89 going to be measured up to.
I have to put as my number one, because it is just, for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's straight up what Gotham City looks like in my head, in my fan head. And that would be the Gotham City from the Batman. And I know the Batman is the most recent solo endeavor of Batman on film, but and I said, I went back and forth. I said, do I let history nostalgia affect, take, when I just say, what did I like better as a Batman fan as Gotham? It is the Batman. So I was honest with myself, and on this list.
That's all you can be, Bill. Honest with yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, I love the Batman Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole opening scene, after the mayor is murdered by the Riddler, but when it starts, it's basically our introduction to Batman with the voiceover, and just the atmosphere. And it's not like it's the atmosphere. I know there was, people made some joke. Well, it rains a lot in Gotham, but that was part of, that. Yeah, yeah.
It does.
But it was cool, and to see, like, in that shot, Drifter Bruce Wayne out in the element, as he would say, around in Gotham Times Square, and it's raining and it's Halloween, and just in the shots, the sky shots, and we see Gotham. I know it's probably a lot of CGI, but I mean that's the ideal Gotham to me. I think he nailed it. And I even love the, like you see in, Falcone's office overlooks the city. And even, I know, and I love that technology that they used. So, yeah, it's the Batman. I mean, it's my favorite Gotham,
That transition into Gotham too, after, the Riddler attacks the mayor, and he does that last strip of the tape, and then as it cuts to black, you get that loud thunder crack.
Yeah.
And I just think like that's such a great transition into Gotham from there, because you go to black, and then the rain picks up, and the
that freaking
skylight,
music,
and then
man.
all
And
that,
on
and
top,
the music, all of it creates a mood. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of like what I just said about it too, of like it creates a mood of like, just sit me here for 3 hours, in which they basically did. Yeah, I hope that carries over, because the Batman Part 2 is coming.
It
I
is.
hope it carries over. I think we'll see new aspects of Gotham. What's up?
We can even say this: the Batman
Right.
Part 2 is coming in less than 2 years.
Oh my gosh, less than 2 years. Better hurry up.
Yeah.
Better hurry up.
Yeah.
Less than 2
So
years.
we wish our fan lives away, don't we?
We do. And then next thing we know, like we're old. Ugh! I just make noises if I move, but it was worth it because I saw a Batman movie. I think we're gonna get new aspects of this Gotham with the Penguin, and then I think it's gonna look. What do I want to say? The Gotham and the Penguin is gonna look like the Gotham and the Batman, but the Gotham and the Batman Part 2 is gonna look more like, because it is a movie, following another movie. It's gonna look more like the Batman, but I think we'll see different aspects of Gotham, which is also exciting.
Yeah, different parts of Gotham.
Mm-hmm. And then playing that whole like piecing it all together in your head of connecting the maps will be cool.
It does have to do with Gotham. I got to ask you this, and you're talking about, we just said like different parts of Gotham in the Batman Part 2, maybe. I asked Emma Thomas back in the day, why Pittsburgh? Why not go back to Chicago? And I know probably the real reason is they got a lot of tax breaks to film in Pittsburgh as opposed to filming in Chicago. But she said that they wanted to show other area, essentially it was like, it's a lot of the story takes place in other parts of Gotham you didn't see in Dark Knight or Begins. Did you have any issue with the lack of consistency of Gotham between those three films?
No.
Aesthetically?
No, I think the thing that would always stand out for me was, basically the Wayne Enterprises in the Dark Knight was, was a black building. But in Begins, they really emphasized, I don't know if it's the stock exchange building in Chicago or what. They had the big W on it in Begins. And then they're in front of that building. That's where the big action piece with the Joker takes place, is in front of that building, but there's no W on it. And it's kind of not even referenced at all. Instead, it's the Wayne place is that black building. I think that stood out to me always a lot more than anything between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, knowing flat out these are two different cities that they're filming in. For me, it was also easily, because we heard the reports, and I don't know why people want to hang up on behind the scenes stuff when on the end it's like, it doesn't matter. Like I just thought too, like 8 years is 8 years is a long time. So of course things are gonna like look different.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a cleaner Gotham. It looks like a cleaner Gotham. So it never bothered me.
It didn't bother me either. There was enough symmetry that I didn't go, like some of these people will exaggerate. It just takes me out of the whole movie. Oh, bullshit. Calling bullshit on that one right now. So
okay. Well, I'm glad I enjoy movies more than you do.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. There's our Gotham cities. Any final words on Gotham?
I like Gotham. There we go. If it was a real place, I'd want to say that yes. If it was, I'd want to visit it, but I also would be a little nervous to visit it. But of course, I'd want to though.
Would you be looking around like with your head up and looking for a shot of the urban legend Batman?
Yeah,
yeah. Not during the day, at night, of course.
If I ran into him, then I would go get a lottery.
Would you hug him? Would you just hug him and say, Batman, I just want to hug you?
I'd put my hand on his arm.
Yeah.
Because then Batman would look at it and then he'd slowly grab it and put it on my chest. And that would stick with me forever. But as the guy said in The Dark Knight, you have more chances of winning, winning the Powerball or lottery.
Yeah.
Than running into him. So if I ran into Batman, I'd have to go get a lottery ticket because that means the odds are in my favor that day.
Do you know that the shot of Elvis in The Dark Knight as one of the suspects, along with Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and whoever else was in that, that was a homage to me.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Bill Jett Ramey has a lot of pull.
Yeah,
you guys don't even know.
That's my story. I'm sticking to that one too. So
you did with announcer Rachel when you watch them. Pause, but hey, see, that's for me. That's for me. My pal Emma Thomas. She knows.
Before we get out of here, I'm gonna. I used to have the hey now. Remember that?
Yeah, because then I was very late to the game, but then I finally got to experience it myself and watching that show. I laughed my ass off.
Yeah. And so it was, of course, that was an homage to Howard Stern's show, which is an homage to Larry Sanders. All right,
there you go.
Okay. So then, but the Stern show, I was a fan of for years, can't even listen to it anymore. It's not good. So I kind of dropped Hey Now. I need to come up with a new one. So I'm going to try some out on these next few shows, and then we'll go with a winner. So I'm thinking like the first one I'm going to try out is Let's Ride. Say like that one. Let's Ride.
All right. We'll bring them. I don't know. We'll insert organically.
Yeah.
And then
I'll open it up to the BOFers. You got any suggestions?
Yeah.
Just respond in the comments.
Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles.
Count Chocula.
Yes.
Sorry.
'Tis the season.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Anything you'd like to plug?
Yes.
And then we shall leave.
Let's go personally. My podcast, the Batman Book Club. This is the 4th annual Spooky Month celebration. What does that mean? It means I love Halloween. I love Batman. So let's combine the two. Have the usual round of Bat Brothers on picking seasonal fitting themed Batman stories. Just dropped today episode with Ryan Haas where we covered a really fun Batman 66, the comic book series story called The Short Halloween. I haven't said that yet to Bill. Not that he has to post it on BOF, but he does. He's a generous man. So check that out if it comes on Batman on Film or wherever you get your podcasts. Also going to drop tomorrow on Batman on Film. I borrowed the podcast mic for the BOF podcast from Peter and interviewed Sean Murphy. It's the 3rd time he's come on Batman on Film.
We can say Sean Murphy is friend of the show now, right? Friend
Absolutely.
of the site.
Yeah. He was complimentary to me from the very beginning. And it was nice to hear. But I've told him he's been very good to Batman on Film. I think when he was on before, he said that, Batman Film's always been really, really nice to him. So, happy to have a 3rd conversation with him where we're talking. We talk basically beyond the White Knight. I mean, again, but there's been some space since that wrapped. And then he's got a new project because you know what? It's all connected, Bill.
Yeah. Everything.
Zorro. He's doing Zorro. Zorro's connected to Batman, like from the get-go, has been connected to Batman, but he's launching a new Zorro story. And so, check out Batman on Film Thursday, October 5th. And yeah, there'll be a podcast. There'll be a link where you can get the info for all the Kickstarter stuff because it'll launch that day. And yeah, so keep your eyes peeled to Batman on Film for that. I think it's a good conversation. I think the guy is really easy to listen to, and he's pretty much an open book.
He's good.
Gives a lot of really good information.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. The White Knight stuff is some of the best Batman coming from DC in a long time. And that universe needs to continue, and it needs to continue with Sean Murphy and company.
Yeah. Him running the show.
Hey, I will say this real quick because I got this. You can see it. It's Batman, the Multiverse of the Dark Knight, an illustrated guide by Matthew K. Manning and illustrated by Flaviu Pop. I probably butchered that name, but I'm sorry, Mr. Pop. If his name was Funko Pop, it would have been a lot easier, but it's not. But anyway. Included in this is one of the versions of Batman is the White Knight universe.
Nice.
Is in here.
Excellent.
So yes.
Should be. Because I'm with you. Many can try, but it just has to happen organically. Etching their own universe in Batman lore. Mm-hmm. And I think Arkham games did it, and then the next one to do it probably was White Knight.
Yeah.
You can say that there's runs. I mean, of course there's runs, like the Scott Snyder Greg Capullo run made quite an impression and it's really good. But as far as like creating their own section of a Batman universe, it's like the White Knight has done it. So I really hope he talks about what, his plans if it continues, which it'll be a while because he's doing Zorro, he's got something up behind that. But if he gets to return to it, what he wants, where he sees the universe going and what he'd like to do. So there's a little tease. I mean, that sounds interesting. And yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that White Knight stuff is excellent. And Beyond, I loved Beyond. And I'm not I like Batman Beyond, but I don't love it. I can watch it, but I can't binge it. And I think that book was great. So enough of me gushing about all that. Check out Batman on Film.
I still think you can take the premise of the original White Knight story of flipping Joker and Batman, Joker being the good guy, Batman being the villain, and make an animated film out of that. A 70-minute, whatever they go run, 70, 80-minute.
That's touched on just a little bit. And then also another friend of BOF,
really?
your friend, Lee Bermeo. He's brought up a little bit and where the Batman Part 2 is brought up as well. So I'm dropping all these little teases.
Teasers.
It's great. Yes. You heard it here first. A lot of stories, a lot of traffic from the BOF bill because all this breaking information.
You're like Todd Phillips. When he drops those pictures on Instagram, which he did. Yep. There was a new one yesterday of, you want to overanalyze that for about 2 minutes? Overanalyze that.
Yeah, you got time? Let's go ahead. Yeah. So you know what the rain symbolically means?
Yeah.
It's all the rain from the Batman because it's all connected.
Yeah. What if it's just as simple as Arthur Fleck, if he is Arthur Fleck in this one?
Yeah. Jack Napier. Heard it here first.
Maybe he just got caught in a rainstorm, didn't have an umbrella.
It's so possible.
It
might just be that. He didn't have an umbrella.
Maybe,
okay?
Maybe he's just imagining that he's caught in a rainstorm without an umbrella. Anyway.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
So, anyways, Batman on Dash Film. Remember, got to remember those dashes.
Yes.
And check. So look for that to be coming. Because, I mean, again, not just because of me, I think there's a lot of good information that's in that podcast. So there you go.
Very good. Looking forward to listening to that. You send it over. I will listen.
Yep.
I'll get an early listen.
That's right.
Take that, BOF listeners.
BOF perks right there.
Yeah.
Good thing you have good graces with whoever's running the show on Batman on Film, Bill.
I am glad I've got an end with the Batman on Film, the founder and editor-in-chief of Batman on Film. So
thank goodness.
Yes, thank goodness. Yeah, I mean, look, I do get a little benefit every once in a while, I get this little podcast to throw me. So anyway.
Yeah.
For me, batmanonfilm.com, batman-on-film.com. And I do have, like I said, I got this book review coming about the different versions of the multiverse Batman. It was very interesting and very insightful from a history point of view. If you want to know, these different versions, and some you'll like a lot and some you
always
won't.
a student. Always a student.
Always learning, lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a lifelong teacher as well.
That's
I
right.
learned, and that's just what I do. It's who I am. So it's what I am.
What do you say? You're amateur Batman?
I am a
Not amateur.
amateur
Okay.
Batman. No, not amateur. What's the word I use for that? I fancy myself as, maybe it is just, I'm an amateur Batman historian.
There you go.
And Elvis.
Van Elvis.
And there's a new movie with Elvis. It's Priscilla biopic. I'm not sure. I'm not if I'm sold on that yet. Okay. You're going to get me off the tangent.
There you go.
That's all I got. Announcer Rachel will finish up here. And
Graceland.
People
stick around to the end.
Yes,
stick around to the end.
Stick around to the end. She has her own. She has even got her own little part of Batman on film now.
She does. There you go. Because it's all connected.
It is. Every damn thing's connected.
It is.
Okay. We'll catch you next time.
You have been listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official podcast on Batman on Film. Follow BOF on Threads at The Batman on Film. Follow BOF on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Batman on Film. To help keep BOF up and running, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm, or you can buy BOF a beer at buymeacoffee.com/TheRealBatmanOnFilm. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, founded in 1998.
Say goodbye, Graceland.